Mark from Massachusetts. Was there any interest in Kurt Angle from WCW? And if so, what do you think he would have done there? Not much. Yes, actually, there was interest. The same week that he met with WWE, in fact. He's told this story on his podcast. He was right out of the Olympics, and he had a meeting with Vince McMahon, and they made a very generous offer to him, a big multi-million-dollar offer. WCW approached him about coming in around the same time. He doesn't remember who it was, but they did reach out to him. They did have interest in bringing him in, and he wasn't sure what to do. He was told by somebody, give Ric Flair a call. I guess somebody gave him Flair's number. And he talked to Flair. Flair was in WCW at the time, so Kurt called him, and Flair told him flat out, stay the hell away. He said he wasn't sure if that was just Flair trying to protect his spot, or if Flair was just trying to look out for him and give him good advice and telling him stay the hell away. But Flair told him, if you come to WCW, they're going to bury you. And he said, go to WWE. Vince will treat you right. Vince will know how to use you. So that's what Kurt did. Although it took him 2 more years before he finally signed. He didn't sign until 98. I think that would have been that all would have gone down, I think, in 96. But once he did, once Kurt realized, oh shit, I should have taken that deal. Maybe I'll get my multi-million-dollar contract. He went back, crawling back to them, and they were like, yeah, that deal ain't on the table no more. You want to come in, you're going to come in at whatever the minimum is. And you're going to work your way up just like everybody else, which is what he did. But ultimately, Kurt made the right call. He would have been screwed. I agree with Flair. He would have been fucking buried in WCW. With all those big names looking out for themselves at that time, Kurt would not have stood a chance. Mike in Lakeland, Florida, with Kane's Royal Rumble appearance and subsequent Hall of Fame induction in 2021, would you have been in favor of an Abyss guest spot in the Rumble that year with a confrontation leading to a match with Kane at WrestleMania? The Monster against the Demon. I was not really interested in Kane and Abyss at that point. Maybe 10 years earlier I would have been. But what I did pitch when he signed with WWE as a producer was giving Abyss a cameo in the Royal Rumble as Abyss. Because Impact had changed its policy, if you remember, to where you could take your name and likeness with you when you left. That's why EC3 was allowed to be EC3 in WWE. I mean, not that it did him any good, but that's why he was able to basically take the gimmick with him. I'm pretty sure if Abyss wanted to, he could have been Abyss in the Royal Rumble, and you give him a cameo in there, and I think it would have been a cool moment. But, you know, they used him for a little while on TV. Remember, he was with AJ Styles. He was his statistics guy. And AJ was kind of, bullying him every week. I thought that would lead to a match eventually between the two of them. We can have AJ and Abyss. But then he disappeared off TV, and we never saw him again. He still works there, behind the scenes, but I always thought that was a missed opportunity just to do a little something with him on the main roster. His best days in the ring were behind him by then. I mean, he's really beat up. But it would have been nice. I think it would have been cool. Abanov from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I was watching your old John Cena Greatest Rivals video on YouTube, and you said that CM Punk would be number 1, with Chicago Phil consistently in the news. It got me thinking about a similar list for him. Buy, sell, lease, and rent on CM Punk's greatest rival, John Cena, Chris Jericho, MJF, or Raven. That's very interesting that you would include Raven in that, because Raven doesn't get talked about very often as one of Punk's rivals. So here's how I feel about this. As Punk would be John Cena's greatest rival, in my opinion. I know some people would say Edge. Some people would maybe give another name. CM Punk is John Cena's greatest rival. John Cena, I believe, is also CM Punk's greatest rival. Not only did they have magic in the ring together, but they were polar opposites in their characters. And it's true what they say, opposites attract. They were the polar opposite. It was the perfect combination. John Cena was the antithesis of everything CM Punk believed in. He represented everything CM Punk hated and resented. And it was a great feud, and it was a great series of matches those two men had together. So I would buy on John Cena. I'd put him at number 1. Behind Cena, I would go with MJF. And then I would go Raven in the number 3 spot. Raven was the first great feud of CM Punk's career in Ring of Honor. It helped establish his persona. It's why it gave him a reason to explain why he was straight edge and how Raven reminded him of his father when he was growing up. The best promos of Punk's early career were cut on Raven and how he resented him for pissing away all of his success for pills and booze and women. It doesn't get talked about as much as Punk's later feuds, but it helped put Punk on the map. So I would go Raven at number 3, and I would put Chris Jericho dead last.